It's Cloud 2020 Insights here today, and we're actually recording this at the end of May before the long bank holiday weekend. But we don't know when you're going to be listening to this, so welcome, whatever time of day it is and wherever you are. So the thing we wanted to talk about today, Ian, is, leave. Here we are, bank holiday weekend. A number of people, myself included, might have added a few days onto that long bank holiday weekend to make the most of their leave. I think also we're talking about the fact that maybe last year we all found it quite difficult to take time off. It seemed like, what was the point if you were just going to be at home anyway, at least working? You were talking to people every day, you were doing something purposeful, all of that stuff. And we noticed, ourselves included, lots of people didn't take leave. So now there's a requirement, really. We know we have to do this. We've got to look after ourselves, got to look after our colleagues. But managing that can also be a bit tricky within a business. Once you get above maybe 5 core people, then who's going to be covering for support, who's going to be doing the carrying on with the sales process, all of that stuff. So we have a solution for that problem, don't we?
We do indeed, but I think the points you made are so valid, Wendy. You remember last year, and like last year was just like, it was unique, wasn't it? That 1 year. And I think, as you say, we had a lot of problem convincing people to take time off, particularly the younger team members. They just didn't see the point, and but we now know, and we've all learned how, particularly around mental health, it's so important just to stop and take some time out. And but we ended up with staff members with like loads of leave at the end of the year. Now, there's a couple of things around that. One is that shouldn't be. Right? There's leaves there for a very good reason. It's about time out, it's about headspace, and it's about going to something different. Now, okay, the last bit probably didn't happen last year, but even if it's sitting in the garden with a book over your face, that's valid. But there are other issues as well. Certainly in the UK now, if you leave, unused leave sits on your balance sheet. So now it's a commercial issue as well as a well-being and HR issue. So it is important, But as you say, it's monitoring it, and even with, and we're at SMB, and we've discovered that even with the few numbers that we have, it's not just are people taking the leave. When are they taking it? How's that fit with projects? How's that fit with colleagues to cover? And it really does need managing. Now, I'm very visually orientated. I've got to sit. I can't, a list, my eyes glaze over. But if I can visualize it and get it, and so as you say, we use Hub Drive's HR tool, which we deploy for customers, and obviously we've got the leave and absence calendar in there, and that's really useful for me because I can then see what's going on. But also the authorization piece where we can set up who covers for who. So we have buddies, right? So you and I, right? You're off next week. I'm not off next week. That's a statement of fact. I'm going off in July. You're my substitute, and we kind of work that routine, and that works really well. Same with some of the devs and so on. So that's kind of important too, and having the platform that does that automatically. So when say Toby wants to take some leave, then Paul has to confirm that he's prepared to substitute, and if that's the case, then it comes to you to sign off and so on, and that works really, really well. So even in small businesses, having a good platform to manage that process, and that's just a small part of HR, but a very important part, really, really works well. And actually, I was on the Hub Drive partner call yesterday, and hats off to you, Wendy. You've got a mention in dispatches there from Hub Drive because of you and Katie for the amazing work you've done on webinars around the digitization of HR. So well done to you. But there's a new update then on the absence calendar, so it even looks even better and it works faster and so on. So lots of good things going around that HR, but so important, and we've learned so much, I think, about the importance of HR in any size organisation in the last 12 months.
Yeah, and I think, yes, that thing about being able to visualize it, and actually seeing blocks of time out across departments, who's off when, and also that monitoring that who hasn't had time off, which is equally important. I think this year we're not seeing people not having time off. What we are seeing is there being clashes about when they want to have time off within the same department, and obviously you want to be able to manage that in a you know, in a way that isn't that's almost a little bit removed from the people involved slightly. And I think the solution allows you to do that, whereas before we were just having personal requests and maybe both of us weren't talking about it, and then we'd find, oh, they're both off at the same time. One of them talked to you and the other one talked to me. And that's kind of with the
I think the
solution,
good
it
thing is that
enables that. Sorry, Ian, I didn't want to jump in.
The other thing is that looking on a leave and absence calendar, as we know, the ability for people to actually book leave on their phone instantly and always get an instant response. So you imagine a scenario, somebody's they've got a booking available. We had it the other night, booking came up, we wanted to go to a particular place, booking came up, we could get it, but we had to commit to it. So this was 8 o'clock in the evening, and I can look on the leave calendar and go, yeah, actually that's going to work. That's going to work. Right, okay, I can go ahead now in confidence and book it and get the right price at the right time I want and all that kind of good stuff. That's really good. So that, and being able to book sickness self-service on my phone, really works. Now there are other types of leave, obviously, but those other types of leave tend to be quite sensitive, or could be quite sensitive. What I like about the leave calendar is you don't know why people are on leave. They're just on leave. So it masks the reason. It just says Wendy is not available next week for whatever reason. That's it, and that's all people need to know. From an HR and line management perspective, you on your dashboards as a team leader, as a supervisor, you can see what that's all about, and that's come to you to be authorised, and therefore you're fully aware of the status of your team. So some really good things around who sees what and why is also really, really critical, I think.
Yeah, really valid point there, Ian, because we are dealing with sensitive information, aren't we? And one of the things I really like about the Hub Drive solution there is that your personal data file is only available for you to see. Anybody that manages you or supervises you and the HR head, essentially, or the HR department, that makes me feel safer about putting in personal details, like my emergency contacts or things like that. And I remembered, oh yeah, I need to update those the other day, and went in and did it. And the nice thing is, I think about that is, say for example, this is quite sensitive, but say my personal details included my my partner's email address and their contact details, and then also you had my home address, and say I changed both of those at the same time, that would be a bit of a heads up that I might actually want to have a conversation with somebody from a well-being point of view. Are you okay? I might not have talked about this at work, but it could be impacting work. And I think those kind of taking care of people things are in quite it's a solution way, but I do think that there is a human part to that, and I think that's very important. So I'm very pleased with the way that we're recording our time off and managing it now, and I think Hub Drive has been a valuable part of that, really.
I think a really valid point that came up when we were discussing with the partner director there, Jason, around the importance of a good HR platform is that these days employees expect to have that ability. They expect to be able to manage their data. They expect to have respect around their data. If they don't see that, it impacts on their view of the company. And how many companies have we been to? And I mean seriously large companies as well, running, I know one example in particular, and we're about to start deploying to their HR to them, and they're running their HR platform on 13 separate Excel spreadsheets. Now, just think of the discord of trying to keep 13 Excel spreadsheets up to date and matching and coordinated, but also where are they and who's controlling them and so on. I mean, it's just nightmarish, really. And how does that feel to an employee that goes, well, I've actually got to get a form and I've got to email it to somebody and make sure that's the right person, as opposed to going, I want some leave, I'm entitled, I've got a substitute, it's booked, you know? And so I think there's a perception around how the company see by employees if we don't have these modern platforms to operate with.
I agree with you, and I think the other thing to say there is there is a fail-safe built into that, in that you can have an approval process. So your employee submits the leave, and then it goes to an email goes out with a link to approve to whoever is in that workflow, essentially. So I think it's got both the beauty of the immediacy, but also the fail-safe of it being checked. Oh, actually, can we offer leave at that point, or do we need to ask them to move it by 2 or 3 days either side? So I think, I think it's certainly I've been impressed by it, and I think it's a good thing to do, definitely.
Okay. Well, maybe another time we look into some other aspects of the HR element and the sort of the advantage it might help on people. But,
yeah, I think so, because we are eating our own dog food, aren't we? Using the solution that we supply via partners and direct to customers as well, and distribution, obviously. So yes, I think for another time, I think that would be great. Brilliant. But I think that's us for today, isn't it?
Well, your leave was approved, and you're going off on leave tonight. So have a great leave, Wendy.
I am. Thank you. It's been quite a year, and I'm really looking forward to a little bit of extended time out if needed. So yes.
Superb.
All right. Thanks, Ian. Bye, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.